So what's up guys, and welcome to the Moon Tribe, where free minds gather. And today's video is titled Religion, the program that runs our lives silently. It is practically, I'm going to be talking about religious programming, and I'm going to be relating this concept obviously to what I've been recently talking about, called the God virus. Yeah, so I'm going to also to be heavily referring to my notes because I've been very preoccupied, and I have not well prepared, and I was way overdue from doing this video. But yeah, and it has to happen. So yeah. So anyway, so let me get started. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you right now how I don't know why that dog just decided to start barking right now, and I just decided to start doing this. I hope it's not very destructive. Yeah. No, the reason why I call religious a program that runs our lives silently, or is because I kind of view as human beings. I kind of compare as human beings to computers, and just the way like computers like and phones have like a hardware like this piece of a hardware. How do I put this? Oh my goodness. Okay, give me a minute. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Now, so I was saying, I want you to think about your phone, because everybody uses a phone, so it's easier to give the example using a phone. And for those who have laptops, also think about the laptop. So practically your phone is just a piece of hardware, like it's just a piece of hardware, right? It's just hardware. I wish I had a phone that I would just show you. It's just a piece of hardware, and without an operating system, that phone is practically useless, or your laptop is practically useless. So the operating system tells the phone when to receive calls, when to receive texts, how to send texts, how to process touch, how to connect to the internet. All this is because the phone has an operating system, and we cannot see this operating system, but we know that it is there, and we're using it constantly, right? And without this operating system, obviously there is no phone, right? So now the human mind, humans, we are the same. We are These bodies are our hardwares. The body is our hardware, and without an operating system, which everybody has, which is installed in the mind, we also have operating systems that runs us, what we call the world view. What we call the world view, this is a set of prescribed rules and assumptions that we use to process our reality. And so these world views, this operating system that is installed within us, unfortunately for us. Hi Chris, start to 50. Hi and welcome to the Moon Tribe. You're welcome. So as I was saying, so this operating systems that is installed in us human beings, unfortunately, is installed in us via when we are very small, before we can question anything, or before we can understand anything. And this operating system is installed by our parents, by our cultures, by the church, whatever religion you're into, our religions. It is influenced by our communities, the people, our environment around us. That is why you mostly hear that people say that you are a product of your environment, because this is what heavily influences you. It is practically your operating system. It is practically what runs you. Now, those of us who are into neuroscience, you get, I know you get what I'm seriously saying, yeah? And so today I want us to be looking at one of those programs, and that is why I'm saying religion is a program, because religion, thanks, what's the stream about? So hi, so I today I'm talking about so hi, so this is the Moon Tribe, where free minds gather, and today I am talking about religious programming. Practically, I am looking at how religion is like a program that silently runs our mind, just like, so that's why I'm using the relation of a computer and human beings, trying to show the relation. I hope, am I making sense? So I'm talking about how religion is one of the programs that is installed in our operating system, that is installed in our minds. And so I'm going to be looking at this program called the religion. I'm going to be looking at its code and how this program actually works in within us. um, so some of the codes that run this program are like guilt, shame, and rituals. These are just some of the basic things, that some of the basic codes that run the program. And one thing, I hope I've explained that. Or it makes sense now. I was hearing operating system and humans. I was lost. I hope I have clarified it. Yes, so that is what I'm looking at. So one thing I want us to keep in mind, one question I want us to keep in mind is this program. One thing I want us to ask ourselves is this program running. But that was that. Okay, I don't know what that was. So one thing I want us to ask ourselves is that is this program serving us, or are we serving this program? Like, does religion serve us, or do we serve religion? Now, while I was doing my research, I came across this idea by a biologist called Richard Dawkins, where he talks about something called the meme. And also, at first, when I read the meme, I thought it was like those funny pictures, but no. So Richard Dawkins talks like about the meme as an idea that acts like a gene. It replicates and it spreads from mind to mind. This is how it grows. And when reading this, I was also reading, I had this idea of this guy that I've been reading recently called Darrell, where he views religion also like a virus that kind of replicates from one person to the other person. And so this whole concept of the meme, let me go back to my notes, is like, so in that sense, how religion is a collection of memes, like for example, love your neighbor, do not steal, worship no other god other than me, love, fear God. These are some of ideas. These are some of the ideas that act like memes, and these ideas help societies function. And the reason why these ideas are able to grow and become big and become a whole movement is because they work. It's because they work in our societies. Um, hmm. Now, now, so when we compare, when I was talking about, when I talk about religion as a virus, this idea is by Darrell W. Ray. He goes and asks the question that what if these ideas are more than ideas, and that they are more than just neutral programs that actually help us, and they're like viruses that that has a virus that has overtaken our operating system, that controls us for its own benefit. Understand what I'm saying? I hope I'm really making sense. and he compares it to a biological virus. And think about this: a virus does not really care about your health. It does not care if you're going to be. It does not really care about you. The only goal for this virus is to replicate. Think about viruses like Ebola. Think about the virus that we currently had recently, the COVID-19. Think about all the viruses that exist in the world, and the only purpose of this virus is to replicate to other people, to spread to other people. It does not care about you. It hijacks your cells. It uses your body and your resources to make copies of itself, and often leaves you sick in the process. Now, this guy called Darrell argues that certain religious ideas operate the same way. They don't care about us. They're just there to hijack our minds and spread. And they hijack our natural psychological needs for so he says these ideas, they hijack our natural psychological needs, such as our need for community, our fear of death, our desire for meaning, and it uses these ideas to replicate itself. So the idea survives even if sometimes it harms the host. So practically what this guy says is that religion, now I'm going back to my what I've been speaking about, but yeah. Okay, yes. So the idea survives. Doesn't matter whether the idea is a good idea. It doesn't matter. This is a lot to digest, but I'm trying to understand you. It is a lot to digest. Honestly, I think it's going to be easier. If you have time, you can just go back to my previous live. I've been talking about something called the God virus. And if you go back to my previous videos, there is a time that I talked about our minds, their similarities to computers, and how we have different programs running our minds. And that, yeah, I have talked about some of these things in small parts. Now I'm trying to combine these two ideas of the God virus and and how religion is like a program, and bring them together. that is what I'm trying to do right now. So let us look at some of the codes. Let us look at some of the code that is running this program, because I believe we all know that a program there's a code behind a program, just like their developers know this. There's a code behind the program. So so on this channel we talk about human minds. Yeah, I talk about the human mind, yes, and I mostly specifically talk about the impact of religion on our human minds. Yes. So this specific channel is towards how religion affects our mind. Yes. And our society as a large. Yes. So let me continue. So let us look at some of the codes that run the program. And one code that religion uses is something called guilt. And guilt is not always a bad thing. Guilt can be good, because, for example, if you feel guilty for doing something wrong to your neighbor, like stealing or lying, that is good guilt. Or like, something very bad that you've done and then you feel really bad after, but that is good guilt. And that guilt is sort of needed in our society to help us as human beings to behave and be in line. It's useful. That is like moral software. So to some extent, guilt is not bad. But now religion takes this guilt and twists it and uses it differently to its advantage. And and how does it do it? So religion knows that guilt is not about what you did, it's about who you are. Because when you feel guilty, you start questioning yourself as a human being. You're like, I believe everybody has had some sort of guilt in their lives, and then you question your humanity, you question yourself very much. So this the when I was using my research, during my research, I find that religion, the religious system starts with a promise, or with a premise. Sorry, a premise. It starts with, like, there's a way you're introduced into the religion. You're first told that when you're born sinful, and you're born in a world of sin. You're a sinful being, and that is what the first story that we are told in religion is about: the Adam and Eve, and the whole fall from the Garden of Eden and the disobedience, to get it into your mind that you are born sinful, that from the very beginning, because of that one sin that was committed, that one act of disobedience that was committed, we don't know when, we are all born now sinful. You get what is happening? Now, so imagine you are born thinking about that. You think, you know, that, like, I don't know if you can see the psychological impact of thinking that you're born a flawed human being. Even before anything else, that you're told that even before your parents impacted you, you are already sinful. I don't know if you can see the psychological impact that this statement has. And do you know the funny thing? This statement was, I've forgotten his name. This concept, the guy who introduced it, I will talk about it in another video. The guy who introduced the concept of that human beings are born sinful. Was it Augustine? I don't remember. So if you can convince somebody, listen to this, if you can convince somebody that they are broken from birth, you have created a permanent customer, because this person will always be seeking relief so that they cannot be broken. So this person will spend their whole life seeking the cure that you will sell them. And what is the cure of you are born a sinner? And the funny thing is, we also don't discuss how the whole concept of there's somebody who also came and died for your sins, because you are a sinner, but you were not completely washed away from your sin. You were still born a sinner. So Daryl, so now this whole point is that religion has created a disease that it claims it can cure. So the disease has been created by religion. It has used guilt to create a disease within you that it only claims that it can cure, that the only person who can cure you of this sinfulness is me, the religion. And what happens to you then is that you become like attached to this thing. It becomes your leash. You become like you're put on a leash, because every single time you feel a little bit bad for any of your actions, you run to this person so that you can go and get some sort of relief. Anytime you feel bad, you run to this person to get some sort of relief. And this is just one example. There's so many ways that religion uses guilt. It uses sexual guilt. What is the other way of social guilt? So many ways. I have been researching it, and I will talk about it all. I will talk all about it in different videos, because I don't want to bring so much information into one video. So you're punished. You always feel guilty for having thoughts, normal thoughts. You feel guilty for doubting. Most people feel guilty for asking simple questions, like when people ask questions about God and their religion, people feel guilty, they feel bad. That is why you find that most people never really question their religion, because you are told from a young age that it is sinful, that it is wrong to question religion. This is one way that is guilt being used. You're made to feel guilty for enjoying things so much. They make you just feel guilty for simple things, and the only way for you to just relieve this guilt is to either pray, to either confess, to either attend church, or to donate something to help you alleviate the guilt. This guilt now has made you tethered. You're like a ghost now, that no matter how far away you walk, we will still come back to this original point, to come back and seek the cure. So this program, this is a code. This is a code that is in the religious program that keeps running in the background, and it constantly monitors our behaviors, and it is constantly reminding us that we are not good enough. So this is the first code. The first code is the guilt, which keeps you in line by you monitoring your own behavior and constantly reminding you that you are not good enough. The second code that I talked about is shame. So guilt is used as a leash. Now shame is used as a firewall. Now listen to this. If guilt is about behavior, shame is about identity. And the most powerful shame module in religious programming is aimed at the body. Because think about the roles that religion comes around when it comes to our bodies. And I know religion specifically really targets the women's bodies. Why? We will discuss that. it's religion tends to dictate what you will wear. You can see this when it comes to the Muslims, when their mode of dressing. You can see this when it comes to some Christian churches, their mode of dressing. It dictates what we can wear. You have seen some places where if you're a woman, you cannot wear trousers into that establishment. If you're a man, there's a certain way you cannot go into that establishment dressed. There are some people who put these things on their head. Different religions have different ways they prefer their hosts to dress up. It controls who you can desire. It controls, when I say who you can desire, because think about this. How many times do you see two people of two different religions marrying from each other? Rarely do you ever see people of two different religions marrying from each other. You would rarely see a Muslim marrying a Christian or a Christian marrying a Hindu. It's almost unheard of. It's very rare. It's there, but it is very rare. This is because religion also controls who we can desire. Yeah, it also controls what you can do with your own body in private. This is now when it comes to things like of masturbation and sex, and how religion uses both guilt, shame to make you feel bad for having natural desires, such as you wanna nut it out. You want to nut it out. You're having sexual thoughts, and it makes you feel shameful for natural things, and it's like so one thing I noticed is that sex is a very critical it's a central theme in all religions. And why do you think this is? Why do you think that sexual control is so central to many religions? Now, the reason why it is because sex is a program of its own. It's a competing program, and because sex is natural, it is a very strong program, a very strong one, because it's in our code, it's in our DNA, and it's hardwired into us. So if you're spending your energy on sexual and on sex, if you're spending your energy on your sexuality, you're not spending enough energy on religion. And so this is why religion really tries to control sexuality so much, because it knows that is a competition. And when I talked about the God virus, one characteristic was that it will create antibodies against anything that is competition to it. So sex being competition to the religious program, what does it do? It creates a defense around it by doing what? By controlling the program. So and one thing you come to realize is that religion really creates a sex negative environment, because in a sex positive environment, religion cannot thrive. So what do I mean when I say a sex negative and a sex positive environment? A sex positive environment is an environment where sex is not shameful, an environment where people can freely talk about things like birth control, people can freely talk about things like abortion, like the laws on abortion are not very hard, and this is witnessed in countries like Europe. In the European countries, many European countries are very sex positive, and you can see that religion actually does not do well in, is not doing well in the European countries. There are very few religious people in the European countries. Compare that to sex negative environments such as Africa, the United States, and other sex negative environments that exist. These are environments that are very rigid talking about sex. They're very rigid talking about birth control. They very rigid when it comes to things like abortion, like very rigid. They have sex but they don't want to talk about sex. So religion thrives in an environment like this, one where the environment, the sex environment is negative. So it puts shame, it installs a program of shame, it installs shame around the sex program so that it can be able to control this competing program. So it requires your brain, religion, it wires your brain to associate your natural desires with disgust, dirtiness, and secrecy. That is why after many people masturbate, they feel dirty afterwards. They feel unclean afterwards, which is very weird because you did a very natural act. Some people, when they're having sex, they won't turn on the lights because they feel that it is a very shameful act that they're doing, that it should be done in the dark. Anyways, and there's a dirtiness associated with sex in our society, and this is all thanks to religion. Can you imagine? Because it's trying to control this program because it knows it is a competition. This is the antibody it has created against this program. So one thing that has been done is that studies of religious rituals from the ancient times to today show that they were designed to evoke feelings of shame and disgust toward your natural state, making you dependent on the group for feelings of honor and worth. So it makes you feel shameful so that you can run back to it, so that you can feel clean. And that is why it has created so many rules and regulations around our sexual relations. And we see this in our everyday life, honestly. And I've given you some examples. Others are like, you cannot enjoy intimacy without feeling guilt, which I did not know. Honestly, this thing affects so many people, even in marriages. It's like, it's crazy, you people. The sex and negative environment that is conditioned in our minds from a young age really affects us. Like, it's so interesting when parents shame their child for curiosity, because think about how many times you can freely talk about sex with your parents. How many times can you freely talk about it's when here in Africa, it's a very shameful subject, and it's like parents even rarely discuss these things with their kids. It's something that the school is left to do, or the churches. Oh, churches never do it. The school is left to do, and even schools here never actually do it. So it's a very sex negative environment in Africa. Yeah. There are people who feel dirty after they have had thoughts, and even if they had these thoughts like 10 years ago or like 20 years ago, they still feel some type of way about having such sexual thoughts. So this is the way shame is used as a firewall by religion, as a code. You have to understand that shame builds a wall around you. It builds a very big wall around you, and it isolates you. And when you're isolated, you're easier to control. So this is why religion tries to use sex very much to shame you, so that every time you feel that shameful desire, that you feel that shameful feeling, You can run to the church and pray, and you get that feeling washed away. You see the pattern. You see, it's giving you, it's creating the disease, then it's curing your disease, knowing that it's a loop. You're looping. There's nothing that is happening literally. um, Now, the other thing that I talked about was rituals. And how does it use rituals? Rituals are used as maintenance. So, on the surface, rituals are just routines, and we all have them. Everybody has a routine. Like for me, there's something that I do every day when I wake up in the morning. I like taking a shower, having a fruit salad. These are just these are just my routine. This is something that I do almost every single day. And then doing my makeup and listening to some songs, these are some of the things. Some people have like a coffee, some people will run every morning. It's different for everybody. These are just things that keep us grounded. They give us structure, they make us feel. So religion also has their own rituals, and which is not wrong, because they also serve a very specific function. Because what is this function is that they are the system's maintenance. They have to keep you lubricated. Yeah, they have to keep you maintained. So every time you kneel, you light a candle, you recite a prayer, you say a prayer that you have said 1,000 times, something like Our Father or the Grace or the Apostles' Creed. You are naturally reinforcing the neural pathways, and you're telling your brain this thing is real and this thing matters, which is not bad. But most people, the negative impact of this is that most people actually never ever truly go deep into some of the things that exist in our world, such as religion. People really rarely go deep into the origins of our religions. So Sigmund Freud famously compared religion to an obsessive compulsive behavior. The person feels anxiety, performs the ritual, gets temporary relief, then the anxiety returns. The loop must run again. And this is why I was talking about the guilt and the shame, because these are the two perfect codes to keep you coming back, for the maintenance. Now the ritual is the maintenance, where you pray and you feel good after you have masturbated. You pray and after that you feel good. You feel that you're cleansed. A loop. That is the obsessive compulsive behavior. You maybe cheat on your spouse, and then you go to the father to confess, and then after that you feel good. But will you cheat on your spouse again? Yes, you will. Will you masturbate again? Yes, you will. and it's a never-ending cycle. It's a never-ending cycle, and it becomes it's a never-ending cycle, because the guilt and the shame is so strong that is in you, that you must do this maintenance. And this is now the virus. This is now the whole concept of Darrell W. Ray, when he says that religion is a virus, because this is not normal. Because you have to ask yourself, is this actually working for me? Is this actually working for me, or am I now working for this thing? Because at some point, if you are stuck in a loop and there's nothing happening, honestly, it's like those famous people who said you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. You are crazy, you are mad. And this is what most people don't realize about our religions. They have put us in a loop. They have made us sick, and then they pretend to cure us, but there's no cure. Understand? There is literally no cure. So this is why you must have rituals. And like right now, I'm doing this video in the perfect time. Right now we have the perfect ritual that is happening, called the Lent season for the Christians, and the Ramadan season for the Islams. The perfect ritual, because right now you fast and you deny your body food, and you are in this mental state of cleanliness, because you're in preparation of the coming of the death of the Savior, right? I don't know what, I don't actually, I should research about Islam. No, that is the virus working in within me because I'm so ignorant about the religion, the Islamic religion. Anyway, let me continue. So, so this guy says that rituals, they don't require belief to be effective. You just go through the motions out of habit because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel nice. It is out of, maybe out of family obligation, out of fear of what happens when you stop doing these things. Because when you stop and think that, what if I stopped praying one day? What would happen to me? What if I stopped going to church? What would happen to me? What if I stopped? What if I stopped doing these rituals? What would happen to me? People rarely. But when you say they, who do you exactly mean? I should have read that when I said that. Huh? But when you say they, who do you exactly mean? In what context did I say they? I have forgotten. What context did I say they? Kindly remind me, because I think my brain has already moved on very fast to the next things that I was going to say. That you really have to remind me so that I post. You said, oh, religion keeps us in a loop. Religion. When I say faith, it's religion. Religion keeps us in a loop. The rituals keep us in a loop. When I was giving the example of maybe you masturbate, and then you, I'm using a sex example because sex is one of the things that really religion tries to control. So for example, when you, yes, you masturbate and then you feel bad, and masturbation is a natural desire, don't forget that, there's nothing wrong with that. And then you feel bad and then you kneel to pray, or you maybe go to your church to pray, or you do something, a ritual to make you feel good. But are you going to stop masturbating? No, you're going to do it again and again and again and again, and then you see, you keep repeating the loop and the loop. Yeah. So when I said they, it's religion. So so this is how this program runs, and this is how deep this program runs us. I don't know if I have really done this. I don't know if I have done a very good job into going deep into it. But the whole practicality, the whole reason why this program even exists in the first place is so that it can be able to replicate. Do not forget the whole concept, the whole point of the religious program. It is not that it cares about us, the hosts. This is something that I am discovering as I read about as I look at religion as a virus. And when I look at it from that perspective, I come to see that actually on most occasions it's not about us, it's about the religion. It's about how the religion survives, how the religion thrives, because it does not matter how this thing affects us. And most of the times, some beliefs really have a negative effect on our lives. But does the religion care about those negative effects that it has on our lives? No, it does not, because it only cares about replicating. And I can also not ignore the positive impact that religion has, obviously. So you have to understand that is the whole point of the virus, to replicate, to pass itself down to the next generation. This is why when I talked about the God virus, one of the characteristics is to infect people, and in the infection stage, it must, the best time for the religious virus to infect is when we are small children, before we can develop our own critical thinking, before we can learn how to ask questions. That is why you find that it's the time that it attaches itself to us. And the thing that I have also noticed is that when the religion attaches itself to you, rarely will you ever leave your religion. You will rarely ever leave that religion, ever. So if you're a Christian, you'll forever be a Christian till death. A very high probability. And you will also teach your children to be Christians, and their children will also do the same. Same thing happens to all different religions. And rarely, like I have used myself an example, will I ever research something, any other religion. Like, for example, how I am very ignorant about the Islam religion, yet it is something that happens around me. It is a religion that lives around, but I am very ignorant about it. Do you know why? Because I have antibodies that were put in my mind from a young age that they are very difficult to fight, by the way. Now that I'm thinking about them, goddamn. So, one thing we have to understand is that we have this program that is running us. We have this guilt, we have this shame, we have these rituals that we keep on doing, that we keep on practicing, so that we can maintain the system. And it works. Sometimes it works for some of us. It does work for some of us. Some of us feel good after that, and you feel relieved after that, and that's good for you, because sometimes it gives us comfort, it gives us community, it gives us meaning, it gives us some answers when we try to think about some things that are so complex. Religion tries to give us very simple answers to some of these complex questions, even though it's not always correct. Yeah. And that is very good, and that is valid. That is very valid, and there's nothing honestly wrong with that. But one thing that one should check is that if the guilt feels heavier, and the shame and like the shame doesn't match with your values, like you feel that the shame is just like, there's a type of way you feel that this is just not, is this actually serving me? I don't know. Maybe for me, when before I began questioning, or before I began doing research into religion, I had so many questions, and I had so many doubts, and I had so many questions that went unanswered, and I had so many doubts. And that is one of the things that actually pushed me into researching my Christian religion and its origins, and where it came from, and who even brought this thing into existence, because this thing really controlled me, and it really made me feel some type of way that I did not like feeling. And the rituals, honestly, they felt empty, because I went to church, but I was just going to church because everybody was going to church, not because I felt like any type of strong meaning towards going to church. I prayed not because I actually felt the need to pray, but because people were praying around me. Like, things, when I did things, they were out of habit, out of what I was taught, but they felt wrong, and that is why I started doing this research. And I am so glad I have come across some of these books, like The God Virus by Darrell W. Ray, because they have really helped me look at religion in different lenses and in different ways. And one thing I like about them is that they're not like poking you, they're not like asking you to leave religion, or they're just telling you, just observe and just see, is this thing serving you, or is this thing working for your benefit, or are you serving this thing at this particular point. And the whole thing, I think for me, the whole thing is all about my whole point would be like, at the end of the day, this program is in within us, and it runs us, and it's a difficult program to overrun, to be honest. It's a very difficult program to overrun. And the best thing that we can do, not the only thing, the best thing that one can do is just become very aware of the program that is running you, and be very aware. Like, when you do something and you feel some type of way, you feel maybe some type of shame, you feel guilt, and you are very much tempted to go and do a ritual like praying or doing something to help you alleviate the feeling that you're feeling, you should ask yourself, why am I even feeling this in the first place? For example, a natural desire such as masturbation or sex, you should ask yourself, like, why are you even feeling shameful for having natural thoughts? There's nothing wrong with having these thoughts. There's nothing wrong with questioning your religion. There's nothing wrong with questioning your beliefs. Like, but some of these things we have been made to think that they are wrong, that we actually never even want to trespass. We never even want to go to those extents of like asking questions, or like thinking along those blurry lines, you know. um and so yeah, so I think that is practically it. Those are practically my points that I had for the day. Yeah, because I would end by just saying that they are the only person who can audit your own operating system, and you're the only person who can decide which program serves you and which one is just taking up space and being just a virus. And at this particular point, now you have become the slave. And yeah, because this is my own as a disclaimer, this is my own personal opinion. This is my own personal opinion. Like for example, for me personally, at some point when I examined religion, I just came to the conclusion that it did not serve me whatsoever. It did not, honestly, it did not. Did it give me community? Yes. Community now, that one is different. But can I also find community in different spaces? Yes, I can. I have. Um, so for me, that was my conclusion. And so I decided this program, it does not deserve me. I will try and find ways, I will try and minimize your impact so that you do not really run my life. Because I think if it's my life, I should be able to run some things about it, right? And yeah, and one thing you have to understand is that when you also look at religion as a virus, you have to understand a virus is a virus and it does not know that it is a virus. It is just doing what it's supposed to do. It's just spreading, it's just replicating. That is just its job. You know, it's just doing what it's programmed to do, and there's literally nothing that you can do about it. It is its nature. But the best thing about us human beings is that we have something called self-awareness. Yes, and the beautiful thing about it is that we can examine our own code. Like right now, I am examining the code that is called the religious programming, and very many other programs that run us. There are so many. Oh my goodness. Yes. So you have to understand the hardware is yours, the software is yours, and you get to choose. Yeah, you get to choose what you need. That is an interesting point, why we always feel the need to go to church or to pray after you've done such things. It's what I'm talking about, Chris. It's what I'm talking about. It's the loop, the religious loop that you have been put in. You feel guilty, you feel shameful, you want to feel relief. You go to the church and you pray to feel relief, but do you actually stop doing that thing? Do you? Really, on most times we never stop doing those things that we say we will stop doing them. No. I would give you an example, but this is a very public platform to give some examples. But yeah, that is it's a way that religion keeps you coming back to it. You're a forever customer. Like I said, it created a disease, and then it promised that it has the cure. It made you a permanent customer for life. You're a permanent customer for life. That it's able to do that. Of course, you can't stop. Sometimes you even tell yourself you won't be doing it if you're forgiven, but most of them it's impossible to stop. For example, some things like I'm sorry, it's some things like our natural desires, our natural sexual desires, those are very difficult to control. Honestly, they're just natural. You cannot go against biology, you cannot go against nature. It's unnatural. And that is why even in the book, The God Virus, Darrell says that that is why he calls it a virus, because it makes us do or feel bad for doing natural things. And for example, of how it requires priests and the nuns to even do complete celibacy. It's crazy, because that's crazy. How can you tell somebody who is a sexual being not to practice something that is natural to them? And then these people follow it, and that is why you're seeing there are so many even cases of pedophilia and sexual abuses in the church, because it's unnatural to ask somebody not to have sex until they are married to God. It's unnatural. It's unnatural to feel bad for masturbating, because masturbating, it's a natural desire. You see, it's a natural desire to have questions about your own existence and question if truly does God exist, because you have never seen this person. But for some reason, we have been made to feel that it is wrong, and we are made to feel shameful and feel bad for asking even some questions about our religions. Yeah, that's the thing. I've always found difficult to understand, and I was like, maybe it's me who is crazy. Imagine you're not crazy. You are absolutely not crazy, not at all. There's nothing. I know the feeling that you're feeling, but it's not crazy. It's just that there's a program that is running you, that is running your life secretly. It is running your life, and the first thing you have to do is just to be aware that there is a program, that there is something that is running you, and it's not you, because you cannot feel bad for your own natural desires. It's just not natural. And it's this book has been so interesting for me to read. You can maybe even go try and read it. It's called The God Virus by psychologist Darrell W. Ray. Where can I type it? I can type it for you. We won't use this. Fortunately for me, I'm just using my phone. I don't even have my laptop. I would have typed it for you. Can I here? I cannot even see my phone. What happens when I do this? Okay, so it's called The God Virus. Just go and search The God Virus. You will definitely find that book. It's a very interesting read, and this guy really explains it so well. You're the first person I've met who explains as how I've been feeling about it. I am so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you have met me, and I'm so glad you have tuned in and we have met. You can during your free time go and just look at some of my videos. I talk about some of this stuff. In some videos, I go very deep and examine some of these things. I have even my own theories that I have come about, and this is why I told you this is the Mon tribe, where free minds gather. That's why I said that is my motto: where free minds gather, because this is a free space. This is a space where I created this space so that anybody who felt like I felt would be. They have not been taken down. Nobody has taken them down. I created this space so that people who felt the same way that I did would find my videos, and that they would watch them and they would resonate with them, and eventually maybe we would even form a community. That's also some of the things that I really hope, because there are many people who feel the way that we feel, but they are so repressed and they don't have a space to come out and ask questions openly and ask questions freely, and talk about these things without any sort of judgment, without feeling guilty, without feeling as if they are sinning, or those crazy things that we're made to feel because we're just doing natural things. So yeah, so Chris and the rest of the people who joined my live, I am so thankful for joining my live. Thank you so much. But now I have come to the end of my talk. We shall meet again tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be talking. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a very interesting live. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to be showing the God virus in the creation story. I have, honestly, it's tickling my brain for sure. When I think about how I'm going to relate the God virus to the Genesis creation story, and I'm also going to be sharing some of my few theories that I have of the creation story. I have done this severally, but I will do it again. For sure, there must be many people out there who feel the same, because this thing is not talked about that much. For sure, Chris, this thing is not talked about that much, and I'm so glad we have found each other. Yeah, I hope this is a safe space for you, where you can feel comfortable and just join. Nice talking to you too, and have a lovely night, and bye bye. I hope I will see you tomorrow in my tomorrow's live. Have a lovely night and have a beautiful experience. Bye bye. Thank you, and welcome to the Moon Tribe. Thank you. Welcome to the Moon Tribe. So bye bye, guys, and I hope I will see you tomorrow. I hope we can get to discuss this more, and you can listen to my ideas and maybe tell me if they resonate. Yeah. So bye bye.